Hi, and thanks for joining me. Well, as you can see, I'm not out on a bike today, but I'm about to get a good midwinter dose of bike magic. I've come down to Newark Showground for the 2024 Classic Bike Guide Winter Classic Show. I came down in the comfort of my car today because I'm just getting over a cold and really didn't feel up to a 90-minute ride both ways. So if I sound a bit more croaky than usual, that's why. This show's been running for a good few years now, and it's one I look forward to as it's right in the middle of winter and it's always a good pick-me-up. It has a very friendly sort of local feel because you don't get the big manufacturers exhibiting. Here it's mainly club stands, and plenty of them, mixed with trade and auto jumble. Most of it's inside several halls, or at under undercover of canvas, but there's a bit of outdoor stuff. Fortunately, the weather today is dry but cold. The heavy rain that Storm Henk brought a few days ago's passed, though like a lot of the country, Nottinghamshire's pretty waterlogged, and the River Trent, which is just up the road, spilled out over huge areas of land. Coming down the A1 this morning, as you approach Newark, you pass over the Trent and you can see miles and miles of flooding. Anyway, here we are in the showground, and we're about to go into the first hall. This is the Sunday of this two-day show, and it looks reasonably busy. Right, we're only just got in and we've already struck gold, literally. This is the BSA Gold Star Owners Club stand. They say all that glitters is not gold, but this lot certainly is. There's plenty of gleaming chrome and polished alloy here. That's a nice DBD 32 350 in a Sealy frame. The bike up there in the middle, that's a 1938 MK24 500. It's won first in the pre-war class at the show. This is another Sealy framed one, but it looks totally different in blue. They've certainly got a good spread of variations. Altogether, a great showing from the Goldie Club. Franny B Club up next. That's a nice example of a police model. You don't see many of those. I only ever owned one Francis Barnett, a 250 cruiser, but it didn't stay with me long. I always preferred 4-strokes. If drag racing's your thing, the Straight Liners stand had a very nice display. They hold events at several strips round the country. Can't tell you much about the machines, unfortunately, but they certainly looked impressive. One of my favourite stands next, the Sunbeam Owners Fellowship. If you watched my report on Stafford show last year, you'll have seen some of these, because they always have a good selection of both standard and altered machines on their stand. The three we just passed were pretty standard S8s apart from a couple of the colours, but then we get to this, which I think is a Dnieper 750 flat twin side valve engine, and it's mated up to the standard Sunbeam gearbox. Next we've got one with a Reliant 4-cylinder 850 engine in it. It's aptly named a Reliabeam 850. The radiator's hidden up behind the text sheet there. That one's a standard Miss Green S7 Deluxe next to an original S7. I've had two Sunbeams, they're great bikes. Italian motorcycle club now, with obviously lots of Ducatis and Motor Guzzis and some others I've not heard of. The Vintage Motorcycle Club is usually well represented at a lot of shows. Nice selection of bikes here, and this unusual BSA with the Jawa engine caught my eye. I love military machines, and this World War II matchless G3L was well presented alongside these Velocets. The British Owners Club is one I've not come across before, though they appear to be based in Essex. Love this lime green Enfield Trials bike, and another military bike next to it, a 1942 BSA M20. There was also a real good mix of machines from individuals rather than clubs, ranging from this old Levis flat tanker right up to modern classics. This green 59 Velocet Mach 350 stood out to me because I did have one of these back in the early 70s. And you couldn't miss this Ogre tribute Suzuki kettle with its stunning Union flag paint job and the tank graphics. Best in show went to this lovely 1960 Suzuki TA250. I'm sure it never looked as good as that when it was new, but absolutely outstanding. This Villiers engine dot was pretty immaculate too, but I'm afraid I don't know what model it is. Usual selection of trade stands and auto jumble stuff were mixed in amongst the club stands. Quite a few bikes for sale if you were looking for a project. No end of auto memorabilia, and if you were looking for tools for your workshop, clothes and pretty much everything else, you were well catered for. Here's just a quick skip round at the big hall before we move on. Back outside now, and there's a huge tent housing many more trade stands. Into the second hall now, with more bike clubs displaying. We got the Trident and Rocket 3 Owners Club here. Air-cooled Suzuki Club. The best vintage bike in the show went to this 500 Douglas, but I'm not sure what year or exact model it is. This 1982 Honda CBX took the prize for the best paint job. Not over the top, just a first class finish. A Velocette Owners Club had the best unrestored bike with this 1913 2.5 horsepower two-stroke model. It's the only complete original survivor of this model, and it competes regularly in the Pioneer Run. That's brilliant. If you're into multi-cylinders, then this is for you. The Honda CBX enthusiasts. Lot of nice bikes here. Another good mix of clubs and trade stands in this hall, but we're not finished yet. On to the last set of halls, which is actually 4 joined together. First up, we got the BSA Bantam Club. This is another one that has a good presence at a lot of bike shows, always plenty on show. Probably because there were so many made back in the day, there must be still a lot in existence, and it's a good relatively cheap entry into classic bike ownership. Racing two-strokes. Watched a couple of races with these machines when I went to Cadwell Park for the historic racing meeting last year. Quite noisy and smoky, as I remember. Speaking of British historic racing, this is their stand. I may actually have seen some of these machines racing at Cadwell. Another little display of Italian style. Actually, these last halls were mainly scooter orientated. Now, I'm not personally into scooters, but there are a lot of interesting ones on show, so we'll do a quick tour. I'm afraid my knowledge of these machines is very limited, so I'll mainly just sit back and keep quiet. Best custom scooter went to this Lambretta with its gold plating and creepy paint scheme. Of course, scooters have been around for quite a long time, and here's a display of some veteran machines. this one stood out. It's called A Miner's Life and got some superb graphics on it. I believe these are early 1940s and 50s Lambrettas. The models used letters from A in 1947 to F in 1955. To finish the scooters, these are Michaelettas. Not sure if that's how it's pronounced, but these were produced in Germany in the 1950s and 60s. That's almost it for this show. There's a bit more on the outside pictures, but I've covered most of what's on offer. Finally, I came across this project bike I thought made an interesting bit to finish on. If anybody's got a spare 1400 quid and fancies an old flat tank project, here's a 1920 Royal Enfield Model 200, or at least some of one. Good luck with that. Okay, I'll wrap it up here. Hope you've enjoyed this little taster of what was on offer at the show, and I'll leave you with a selection of photos of bikes that took me fancy. Please leave a like if in fact you did, and a comment, because I always try and answer them. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of my ramblings, and hit the notification button. Hope to catch you on the next one, so cheers for now.